Chapter 18 Character. What is a character? A character is an individual in a story. If the story is a world, the characters are the population. Think about the story of Rumpelstiltskin, who helps a poor miller's daughter pretend to spin straw into gold and then diamonds her firstborn child in return. Rumpelstiltskin, the miller's daughter, even the firstborn child, they are all characters. A story can be focused less on the action and more on the characters that perform the action or are affected by it. By learning to analyze and understand the characters, we can better understand all the other elements of a story and the author's overall message. All of the elements of a story are interconnected. Story of Rumpelstiltskin, a dwarf in a German folktale who aged the king's bride on condition that she give him her first child or good the dwarf's name. She guesses correctly, and in his rage, he destroys himself. Type of characters: central and secondary characters. A central character is one of the latter the story focuses on. A secondary character does not receive the most attention of the story. Example, the Odyssey focuses on the adventure of Odysseus. The central character, the people and creatures he meets along the way, are the secondary characters. Main character, protagonist, and antagonist. The most important character in a story is called the main character. The main character can be a person, an animal, a supernatural object, and or a mix of all these things. There are no limits on who the main character is. However, the main character is always the central focus on the story. The protagonist is one of the leading figures in a story. This is the character you are usually rooting for, and often champions cause in the book of or works to solve the main conflict in the story. An antagonist is a character who comes into conflict with the protagonist. He or she prevents the problem from being solved. Sometimes the protagonist is the main character, but not always. Example: in To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, the main character is a scout. Most of the story is about her and what she thinks and feels. However, many readers believe that Atticus, her father, is the protagonist. He's the one we root for in the conflict of the story. However, often the protagonist and the main character are the same. Lots of people think of the protagonist as the good guy and the antagonist as the bad guy, but these characters are often more complex than good versus bad. These characters are always for the author to explore the complexity of the conflict and ways for the readers to discuss and analyze the story. Example: in the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling, Harry is the protagonist and the main character. In the books, we follow Harry from the moment he learns he is a wizard on his 11th birthday to a climatic battle with the series antagonist, Lord Voldemort, or he who must not be named. Plot. and round characters. A flat character is one who can be summed up in just a few lines without many detail about their beliefs, feelings, or behaviors. And a round character is one who has a lot of depth and detail, more like a real person. The writer W.M. Foster came up with the idea of a flat and round character in his lecture series called Aspect of the Novel. Example, the Wicked Witch of the West is a flat character in the Wizard of Oz. And we never learn much about her or why she acts the way she does. But in the novel and the musical Wicked, she is a round character. We learn a lot about her story and her feelings. Sometimes we see the same type of character over and over. The wise old lady, the trusted friend, these are called stock characters. Sympathetic and unsympathetic characters. A sympathetic character is one you can relate to. An unsympathetic character is one you don't have much sympathy for. Sympathy, understanding between people, a common feeling, care. Example, most of us would probably be sympathetic to a character who was on mission to rescue puppies. Most of us would feel unsympathetic toward a character who want to steal a family's new puppy. Each reader may have different feeling about different characters depending on his or her own feeling and background. Dynamic and static characters. A dynamic character is one who changes during the course of a story. A static character doesn't change. The change can be physical, emotional, or spiritual, like growing up, falling in love, or finding hope after a tragedy. Example, Wendy is a dynamic character in the play Peter Pan, or the boy who wouldn't grow up. She learns and grows up, but Peter Pan is a static character because no matter what happens, he doesn't learn or change. Dynamic character, static character. Character summary chart. Type of characters. This character, central, is the most important character in the story, central to the action. Secondary, appears in the story but is not the main focus. Protagonist is a leading figure, the champion of the story. Antagonist comes with conflict is the protagonist. Flat has little depth and little information on beliefs, feelings, or behavior. Round has depth like a real person. Sympathetic is relatable. Unsympathetic is not relatable. Dynamic changes throughout the story. Static stay the same throughout the story. Disclaimer: these aren't the only kinds of the characters. Thanks to great writers, there are many more. Narrator as a character. The narrator tells a story, but sometimes the narrator is also a character who acts in the story. Example, Ismael is a narrator in Moby Dick. However, he is also a character who experienced the whole story of chasing a great white whale throughout the ocean. He is not the main character in the action of the story, but he tells the tale. Narration and point of view. In a narrative, the point of view is the perspective from which a story is told. If it's a fictional story, it's told from the point of view of the narrator. There are three common types of narrators in fiction. 1. A first-person narrator. is a narrator who is also the character in the story and tells from his or her point of view. A first-person narrator tells the story in the first person and always refers to the character as I or we if it's plural. Authors might choose to use first person if they want the story to be told from a single point of view and if the thought and feeling of the narrator are important to the story. Example, I was born in a small mountain town called Della Gloria. 2. A second person narrator tells the story as if it's happening to you, using words like you and yours. Authors might choose second person narration if they want the reader to strongly relate to the story or they are giving the story specific instruction. Example, you've probably never seen a place quite as beautiful as the serene mountain town of Della Gloria. 3. A third person narrator is a narrator who is not a character in the story. The narrator tells the story in the third person and refers to the characters as he, she, and they, but never I or we. A third person narrator may have a limited point of view or be omniscient, which means the narrator knows all and can describe the point of view of many characters. An author might choose this point of view if he wants to write about the point of view of many characters or tell the story without focusing much attention on the narrator. Example, Sebastian Smith was proud to have been born in the small mountain town of Della Gloria. His older sister, Jacobia, was not. The character's point of view is his or her perspective or how a character sees and thinks about things. An author